Hello and welcome to Bear Football here on the Barroom Network. John Buffone alongside Aldo Gandia and Tyler Ellis. Hey everybody, the Bears clinched a playoff spot today. It may not have been as evident during their game as it was if you were watching the Rams-Cardinals, but nevertheless, the Bears are going to the playoffs despite falling by 3 scores to the Green Bay Packers to end the 2020 regular season. A lot to dissect here, a lot to go through here, but the end result is the Bears are going to the playoffs with a record of 8-8. Despite going on a 6-game losing streak this year, the Bears are able to clinch a playoff spot in the NFC. Quick takeaways, and then we'll dive deep into this. Go ahead, Aldo.
Well, I think what we saw is what we are, a team that's not ready for prime time. There's missing pieces. There's lack of execution. And they could have, pulled off the upset, but it would have been an upset because the Packers are clearly the better team, better coached, and have better personnel at so many positions. But when you lose Roquan Smith and you are playing against an Aaron Rodgers, he is just going to annihilate you. And the 2 back-breaking touchdowns were touchdowns that took advantage of Josh Woods being in that linebacker position, and that was the game. So Bears gave it a valiant effort. I hate to back into the playoffs, but we can gain a lot of more knowledge about who should be moving forward in 2021 with a playoff appearance. I'd rather be in than out. I don't care how I get in.
Tyler.
John, how you doing, brother?
It's bittersweet. It's bittersweet.
And so, my man, first and foremost, John, Aldo, we get the opportunity to talk Chicago Bears playoff football. I know we're definitely gonna dive into the game. I'm not gonna fall for fool's gold, but having the opportunity to talk about your uncle's team, to have the opportunity to talk about my father's favorite team, and the playoff scenario is still gonna be awesome. But we will do due diligence to our fans. We just want a real quick thank you to everybody joining us right now on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. We love you guys. We take these losses together. So real quick, this was awesome. But hear me out. Aaron Rodgers is good, guys. At the end of the day, Aaron Rodgers is good. The Packers are a Super Bowl caliber team. Guess what? They're the number 1 seed in the NFC. Guess what? The Chicago Bears dropped 2 interceptions that were in critical times, which would have changed the momentum and complexity of the game because we were down by 5. We were 4 for 5 on 4th down. I was like, man, why they keep doing it? They're going to mess up. They're going to jinx it. I was like so happy about this. I had just reported the 3 for 3. Then we went 4 for 4. I'm like, this is awesome. But I would have been happy with the field goal at that. I would have been happy with the field goal just to take points. But either way, I understand. But the simple fact of the matter is we got exposed. We got shown where we are vulnerable at. And that is the drag routes in the flats. Our DBs and inside linebackers cannot beat the 3rd string or any string receiver to the sideline, especially with our bulldog, Roquan Smith, that's able to go sideline to sideline. But so there's definitely things to work on, John. But at the end of the day, we can fix it in the playoffs.
Well, I don't know if we can fix it in the playoffs, but they're in the playoffs. They're in the playoffs, which is great. We get to see the Bears in a playoff game. I would guess most likely, I think they're playing New Orleans, and it's up in the air whether or not Alvin Kamara can play in that game. So we'll see. We have a lot to talk about when it comes to the playoff game. But we said going into the second half that the Bears are going to have to try to make a play on defense. And they did stand up first drive right out of the gates in the second half. They held strong, but they had to make some of those plays where we saw dropped interceptions by Jackson, and we saw the other. There was escaping my mind to who dropped the other interception, but those are plays that you have to have. And then as far as offense goes, I don't blame them for continuously going for it on 4th down. I don't mind them going for it on 4th down and not getting it. Well, I mind them not getting it, but the idea of going for it, I didn't mind for it because I said you're not going to trade 3 for 7, and the Packers end up putting over 30 points on you. 19 points isn't going to be any better than 16 points. So they needed touchdowns in those situations. I'm all for it, but there were struggles across the board. I mean, we can talk about as much as we want about the defense, but there's plenty of offensive things that went wrong too. If you look over it, Mitch threw the ball 42 times, 250 yards, 0 touchdowns and a bad interception and a interception. Well, a dropped interception at the end zone at the end of the first half. So he didn't have his best game. It's not his fault they lost. I mean, it's not his fault. He wasn't willing them to victory either. So there's plenty of mediocrity to go across the board when it comes to this performance. The defense didn't show up. The offense, I don't care if they looked efficient. 16 points isn't going to beat anybody. I don't, especially if you're going into the playoffs. 16 points ain't going to do it. So we can talk about how Mitch didn't lose the game, but he sure as hell didn't win the game. And there was plenty of things across the board to nitpick, but they are in the playoffs. They're in the playoffs.
But John, you say it like Mitch can't run their routes, bro. Mitch can't create separation. I mean, all he can.
Are you going to say he had a good game? Are you really going to say he had a good game?
No. I'm not gonna say you had a good game.
Come on, just watch the game. You can't say that he had a good game.
But John, I'm not dog. This is a freaking fight, dog. If you're freaking bloody, you think you'll go to a damn box? You think you'll go to a boxing match and not get punched in your face? Dog,
yeah.
No. What was Mitch responsible for? Throwing the ball out. Guess what? If we would have picked off Rodgers, then he would have had a couple interceptions. But guess what? They got the DB that we didn't want to pay, bro. No. You can't bash him like that, dog.
I'm not bashing him. I'm not saying, but you can't say like, oh, Mitch had a good game. Nobody had a good game.
He didn't take
including the quarterback. It's okay to say he had a bad game. It's okay to say the quarterback didn't have a great game. The defense sucked. No. I admit that. But it's okay to say like, oh, they won even though Mitch had this great performance where he had no touchdowns and he threw a bad interception and he was dinking and dunking the entire time.
Right.
So let's not act like he had a great performance and the Bears let him down. He was part of all of it.
Come on, bro. Dinking and dunking is what got Joe Flacco a frick $100 million.
And look how they wasted that. Was he worth that money?
We got a Super Bowl. You take what the defense gives you. John, all I'm saying is he didn't lose us the game. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying
he didn't win the game.
No. At the end, we didn't lose the game, so nobody won us the damn game.
No. So, but I don't want the narrative to be out there like, oh, Mitch had a great game and this team let him down. He was not. There was plenty of bad. Like he took what the defense gave him, and guess what? He got 16 points.
Right. But at the same time, those fourth downs, those were 2 QB sneaks and 2 fourth down passes. I don't care what you want to complain about. No, because y'all forget about Rex Grossman. Y'all forget about Kyle Orton. Y'all forget about what we came from.
Is that the standard?
No, is it the? We're talking about what we have currently right now.
If you're better than Kyle Orton, you're awesome. Is that it?
I'm talking about appreciation about how far we've come. He did what he could do, John. All I'm saying though, he didn't fold. It's the Green Bay Packers, one of the best teams in the NFL, and we didn't. All I'm saying is the offense didn't fold. I mean, what do you want him to do? He can't
score more points.
Mitch Trubisky. Okay.
Is 0 touchdowns a good game? Is 0 touchdowns and a pick a good game?
No, it's not. But guess what? Hey, coach, this play sucks. I'm going to run it this time. No, he can't do that because then be called a bad guy because he didn't run a lot. He didn't run as much as I want him to. It's things he could have done, but do you want him to go renegade, completely renegade, bro? Come on.
Do something to score points then.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. But what I'm saying is the fact of the matter is the Bears came out in the second half. They did exactly what we wanted them to do, and that surprises. They got back-to-back stops after halftime. After the Packers got to come together, we stopped them, and then we scored. Yeah. Then we got some points. The Packers had 0 points in the third quarter. That sets to say something about our team. That I get it. The people in effect, everybody's upset about these things, but we got to understand who we're playing against. So. But we have longevity. We have to be consistent with it. But if we don't score the points, time of possession, I think it was an 8-minute drive with no points. Those things hurt. But we're talking. It's the game of inches. They got the touchdowns. We didn't. Why did they get the touchdowns? Because we got beat on the sideline. Period.
Yeah, and I'm not saying, and I don't want this to turn into, that Mitch lost the game. It's not true. But what I'm saying, because the defense was atrocious today. That was a big part of this. They couldn't come up with the big picks. They couldn't get off the field on third down when Aaron Jones caught the ball, broke 3 tackles and pushed it forward. But it's a holistic thing. So if we're gonna put the blame on the defense, we can put just as much blame on the offense as well.
I ain't blaming nobody. No, it's the Green Bay.
Blame somebody.
No. I'm gonna. This is where we see what the front office does. You got what you got. When somebody shows you who they are, believe them. No, you can't. You can only make a 5th round, 6th round do so much. At some point, talent's gonna trump it. That's Adrian Amos having a record game. That's Adrian Amos coming down laying the wood. That's Amos coming down picking Mitch. We didn't want to pay him, so he's gonna make us think about that all the time. Okay, I mean we could blame somebody, but John, we got shown where we need improvement at. It's really that simple. What were the passes that Aaron Rodgers didn't break 200 yards into the 4th quarter?
4 touchdowns.
Because of the fumble. But because of the fumble, because of the turnover. And the game.
Okay, we got points off of a punt muff, and we ended up kicking a field goal off of it.
I'm with you. But what do you want to say? He killed us in the flat, and he killed us in the. That was man-on-man coverage. There's no mistaking that. That was man-on-man.
So no one's to blame. So no one's to blame for this.
I'm not saying that we get away with that. I'm saying it's clear what we saw. We saw our defense get shredded up like Swiss cheese. We saw them put forth a valiant effort, but we lost containment. To hold the Packers to 0 points in the 3rd quarter, and let's get back to it because I want to hear from Aldo. We could only hope to contain them. John, I'm just as upset, but I'm just like, bro. At the end of the day, I'm watching our DBs get beat. I'm watching these cats just beat our linebackers. I'm watching it over and over again. After we shut them down, they came back and they responded. We had a chance. We were down by 5. We were driving. We could have kicked a field goal. If we would have kicked a touchdown, we would have went up. We decided to go forward on 4th down. And Aaron, you could only hold him for so long. He went down and then he scored. Then what happened? A freaking turnover. So that's what happened. John, we got hit and we didn't get back up, bro. We was in the fight, bro. We was in the fight before.
We were in it. I'm not happy with just being in it, Tyler.
I'm
not happy with just being in it. I'm not happy with just saying we didn't give up. I'm tired of this culture thing where it's just like the players didn't give up. That's great. They lost, but at the end of the day, they're in the playoffs. We'll see if that attitude helps them next week. But it didn't help today. So I don't like a lot of the defensive schemes we had out there. We had Danny Trevathan on one of the best deep threats in the league for some reason. They weren't getting to Rodgers. They weren't tackling well. So I get it. Aaron Rodgers probably going to be the MVP. He's probably going to have a good game. That's just how these kind of things work. But they did not. The defense didn't do them any favors. It was a bad performance by the defense, and the offense. Sometimes you got to score. They got to go out there and try to get into a shootout. The Bears don't have the weapons to get into a shootout with Aaron Rodgers. It wasn't going to work out. But 16 points wasn't going to cut it no matter what.
Yeah, I hear where both of you guys are coming. You guys are both making good points. But in my opinion, the play calling was the result of the coaching staff does not have 100% confidence in Mitchell Trubisky. And so the play calling strategy was to dink and dunk and run the ball and eat up as much time as possible. And that is because you just don't have a quarterback who is very successful at throwing the ball downfield with the ball in the air over 10 yards. I said that on our halftime show, and then the 3rd quarter starts and we see a stat that supported that. And so that's the huge problem with Mitchell Trubisky. 4 years as an NFL quarterback, and he just can't reliably make those calls, those play calls. And then he's facing a defensive coordinator, Mike Pettine, who knows all of his weaknesses. And so he had a brilliant strategy. Notice how many times that Mitchell Trubisky rolled out and there was a linebacker right there. They had seen what the Bears had been doing the last 3 games successfully, and they just told the linebacker, keep going. Don't fall for any fake. Just get in front of his face so that you can minimize the effectiveness of those rollout plays. And the defense did not buy those looks. Mitch looks deep downfield and then immediately dumps it off. The Packers defense, Adrian Amos, who knows Mitchell Trubisky so well, he wasn't falling for any of those fakes. And so that is part of the problem. We have got to correct so many things on this team, but really, if you're not going to have a defense that's going to hold Aaron Rodgers down to 21 points and you're just not going to win the game. It's just not going to happen. And we're too many mistakes too in other areas. And like I mentioned at the top of the show, the injuries and so forth. Roquan's injury was huge to this defense. I mean, it annihilated the effectiveness of this defense. And so there's just a lot of poor things. And ultimately, the finger points to Ryan Pace. Ryan Pace, unfortunately, in my opinion, he's going to be the general manager in 2021. I don't think he deserves to be the general manager in 2021 because how he has built this team is just all discombobulated. He put somebody on Twitter said, square pegs and round holes, that kind of analogy. And that's what we have. And when you have Barkevious Mingo, a journeyman outside linebacker, outplaying Robert Quinn, your $30 million big-time acquisition, and then you're seeing Leonard Floyd for Los Angeles Rams earn a $1 million bonus for getting his 10th sack of the season when Robert Quinn has 2. All of those fingers point to Ryan Pace. Now, there was a report that Matt Nagy is going to be the head coach for the Chicago Bears in 2021. Well, if that's the case, then does that mean that Ryan Pace's job is solid too? Are you going to bring in Ryan Pace? I mean, a new general manager to replace Ryan Pace and then tell that GM, oh, by the way, Matt Nagy is going to be your head coach. So it's all broken right now. And it's a shame because there's so many players on this team. And I love Mitchell Trubisky as a person. And I wish that he had a better team of people making decisions and play calling and so forth. Mitch and Akeem and Khalil and so many guys on this team that I'm proud of. I'm proud to cheer for, but they're just not getting the job done because it starts at the top. And you can point to Ted Phillips, but no, I point to Ryan Pace because he is the head of football operations. Ted Phillips isn't telling him to sign Robert Quinn. He's probably saying, yeah, go ahead and spend the money if you think that's the right call. So maybe you need a football operations guy to replace Ted Phillips to tell Ryan Pace to go to hell. You're not going to spend $30 million on Robert Quinn. Spend the $15 million on picking up the player option on Leonard Floyd. Maybe you need somebody like that. But in my opinion, Ryan Pace has to go.
I saw Robert Quinn in coverage a few times again where I'm just like, what the hell is this? You bring the guy in because he's a better pass rusher than Leonard Floyd. Leonard Floyd had the athleticism to cover people in the flats or on routes. He also had he also was pretty good in run defense, but he couldn't get to the quarterback. So they put all this money into Robert Quinn. It hasn't amounted to much. And so whenever you push all of your money into Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn, who I think, if you look at just the cash totals, is the highest paid player on the team this year, or next year, or at least in the top 3. You need production out of what you're pushing all your money onto, and they're not. They're not getting any results from that investment. They're not getting any payback on that. So whenever you build your team a certain way, and it's not working where you push most of your assets, then you have a problem because then you're relying on people on the other side of the ball who are 1-year contracts, or the offensive line can suffer from that, or and you know what? Barkevious Mingo's been for what they're paying him has earned what the Bears gave him because he's made some plays this year. You look at Mario Edwards, same deal, and some of the other guys that are lower end contracts have actually worked out. But the problem is where you put most of your money is not dominating that side of the ball, and that's really frustrating. And then you do see Leonard Floyd go out and get double-digit sacks this year, and it's like, well, we blamed Ryan Pace for drafting him, and now we're blaming him for not holding on to him. Maybe we should be looking at how this team develops talent. Maybe that's a big problem with this organization. When you look at some of the guys that are producing, Adam Shaheen, who gets a new contract for Miami, Leonard Floyd, who's playing well, and why aren't we developing these players as well as we thought we were? So, or why aren't these players coming out to the potential in which we drafted them and then going off and producing elsewhere? Maybe this coaching staff has a problem developing young talent, and we can say the same thing with the quarterback if you want to go that way.
John, in this situation, I feel like you're danged if you do, you're danged if you don't. Because we develop homegrown talent, then some people say, oh, don't pay him, then you let them leave and go other places. So how many times are we going to – I think I heard Mike North talk about this. How much homegrown talent are we going to have, and we allow them to just leave and walk out the door? I mean, I mean, Eddie, we could start naming a whole bunch of different names about players. I'm gonna keep saying Amos because it showed up today, the difference of having a DB and everything. But if in terms of this game, the reason why I wanna say stay calm, John, because I don't want you to have a heart attack because I love you, brother. It would be different if we were not in the playoffs. Okay, I would be talking different because think about it, because if it's report card time, if you're going in to negotiate money, if you're having transactions, well, the job isn't finished yet. But guess what? The work that you did over here has earned you a little bit. So guess what? Ooh, you was about to get fired. But guess what? What you did before got you in. So it's still a wait and see. But I said I like this because, and I don't go back at my work, but I said last week, this is why I wanted Aaron Rodgers to play. Because I got to see what my team really looks like. They got like 2 or 3 extra little touchdowns at the end, but really that 21-16, 25-16, that was the fight right there. Because we had the opportunity, we didn't follow through. It was on us. We can bet. I mean, the Chicago Bears, the Packers to that point were like 0 for 3, 0 for 2 for third on third down. I think we got Nagy coming on if he's coming on.
Hold on a second. Let me grab him up.
Is it?
I wasn't.
Okay, I thought I got a feeling about it all the time.
Look at you, man, getting feelings and stuff.
In the anticipation. Well, you do this for 17 weeks. You're bound to know what the clock looks like.
It's about time.
Yeah. Oh, and just to put a
he's not yet. But go ahead, guys.
Just to put a pin in that, we talked about this throughout the season. We talked about this in the early part of the season. What's frustrating about it is it looks like this GM and this organization put everything in as far as this is a win now year and so is next year, because they go out and they make those kind of moves where you sign Jimmy Graham, you sign Danny Trevathan over Nick Kwiatkowski. They brought in Ted Ginn, which clearly didn't work out. But like you make some of these moves, you bring in Nick Foles because you feel like this team is going to win now. This team has what it takes to win and make a deep playoff run. That's what's frustrating about it, because we're seeing them go all in, and I don't think this team has it in them to make a deep playoff run, just from what I saw today. The frustrating part is this was supposed to be the winning window, and it doesn't look like it might be a winning window. Could they catch fire next week? Maybe. But if I'm talking about – but I'm looking at it holistically. Look, if a team that is supposed to be all in and win now and is supposed to be a Super Bowl contender, you're not supposed to lose 6 straight. You're not supposed to fall ass backwards into the playoffs after getting your doors blown off by the Packers. But thank God some no-name quarterback for the Rams beat the Cardinals after Kyler Murray went down. So that, I mean, if you're a team that you thought was in a win now window, you shouldn't have. This isn't how it's supposed to be. So that's the frustrating part about it. Could next week be a big upset? We've seen big upsets in the playoffs before. Sometime, and this is the first time that there's ever been a 7 seed, and the Bears get to be the 7 seed going into the playoffs. And that's a whole other different story about whether or not the playoffs really mean something, or not. I should say, do the playoffs really mean as much on a resume now, given the fact that 44% of the conference actually makes the playoffs now? So is that really a good qualifier for a coach keeping his job? That's up to debate, since, like I said, almost half the conference makes the playoffs now. But they are in, so they do get their chance. So we'll see what the schedule looks like. Alvin Kamara, he might not be able to play till Sunday because of the COVID protocols. So if they get a Saturday game, they would be without him. So there's a lot to shake out here. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and on the screen here, we see how it's shaking down. And thanks to Bobby Bombs for sending this to me. So the Packers obviously earned the bye with their victory. And then it's the Saints, the number 2 seed, playing the last seed, the Chicago Bears. The Seahawks, the 3rd seed, playing the LA Rams, who will be without Jared Goff, right? And either Washington or the New York Giants playing Tom Brady's Tampa Bay Bucks. So that's how things are shaping up at the playoffs. Hey, I'm still going to be a proponent that I'm going to be rooting for the Chicago Bears.
Absolutely.
And hoping that they're going to win a playoff game or 2. And I know that it'll drop their draft position down, but it doesn't matter whether you're drafting 20 or 22 or 24.
That means nothing now.
Yeah, it's over with. You're not going to get one of the top 4 quarterbacks in this NFL draft with where we are at. And
you don't tank when you're in the playoffs.
Exactly. Did you really want them to extend their 6-game losing streak so that they would have had a top 10 pick? Absolutely not. We'll figure this thing out in 2021. I'm happy that we're going to continue to play Chicago Bears football. I'm happy that we've got an opportunity to go in to New Orleans, go down there and beat Drew Brees. We've had some really good games down in New Orleans lately. You remember the Zach Miller game? We would have won that game if it wasn't for the BS call by the official on that game. And then I think we had another game in New Orleans after that was a victory. So we've had some success. Drew Brees is an immobile quarterback. They've got some injuries, and like John said, they might be without Alvin Kamara. If indeed there's a possibility that even if the game is on Sunday, that Kamara might not play if he's exhibiting COVID type symptoms. So you just never know. And hey, I would rather play them at their best, but if they're going to play without Alvin Kamara, then fine. We'll play him without Alvin Kamara, and hopefully we'll win the game.
I don't think anyone's going to feel bad if Alvin Kamara doesn't play.
The Saints beat us 26-23 last time, and so that just the Bears can win this game. So if we're done with the Packers, because I want to get John happy now, I want to talk to John about the playoff. I'm gonna go back to that. The Jay Cutler 6 sacks concussion game. The New York Giants Coughlin was about to get fired. And then they won 6 games straight, and they won a Super Bowl. The dreaded NFC Championship game. We beat the Packers twice. Did we beat the Packers twice that year? I'm not sure. Did we beat the Packers twice that year? And then they came. I'm not sure, but they came back and we beat them again. They beat us in the NFC Championship. What matters is that anything can happen in the playoffs. Hopefully, do we play the Packers in the second round if we win?
Probably.
Yeah, they would reseed, and since the Bears are the lowest possible seed, they would go on the road to the number 1 seed. So they would get the Packers in the second round if they win.
Could you write a better story, John? If we won that freaking game, if Mitch Trubisky after everything else, because you got to remember, this is the Chicago Bears pick to finish last in the division. This is the Chicago Bears that the media disrespects, rightfully so. Sometimes warranted, because we saw the circus as well. But we saw with Matt Nagy removed from the offense. But I'm still proud of what I saw against a caliber team. I'm not giving them a pass. I'm like, man, they look like they know they went to a practice. Like, wait a minute. I saw David Montgomery in early sticking to the run. Matt Nagy, talk to us.
You got me?
Yep, I got Let's hear about how good practice was.
All right. So, I'll start off with the game in regards to how everything went. You get to the fourth quarter against this team, and you have that 4th and 1, 3rd and 1, then 4th and 1, 11 minutes to go, and a touchdown puts you ahead. And I thought that for really up until that point, we thought that game plan wise, it was really going how you want it to go. And in the fourth quarter to be right there, we just got to get that 4th and 1, and that bothers me that we didn't. So we as coaches, and we'll do a better job there, making sure we get that. And then all of a sudden, they go down and they get 2 touchdowns and make it 35-16. Red zone, not good enough. 1 for 5 in the red zone. You can't play the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers and kick field goals. We have to get touchdowns. There's no other way. And then he's 4 for 4 in the red zone. We had 6 fourth down conversions, which is probably more than we had all year long. Time of possession against this team is what we wanted. We had 35-24 time of possession, and that's hard to do against them. Our defense to come out in the third quarter there and to get that 5 and out and that 3 and out. If you get an opportunity he throws you a ball. I'd love to be able to, make that an interception with 2 or 3 of those that we had. We didn't, but we did get off the field. So I give credit there. Again, red zone for them was good. Red zone for us was bad offensively. And so, being in that locker room afterwards, this is my first time where you lose a game, but yet you find out that you're in. And so the message to the team is this: it's okay to feel like crap right now. We put a lot of time and effort and energy into winning this football game, and it sucks when you lose. But that said, feel it tonight, understand it, but no one's going to take away what these players did to work back these last 3 weeks to put ourselves in a position to make the playoffs. And they did that. And there's no one that's going to take that from those players and the coaches. So here we are. We feel it tonight. We wake up tomorrow morning and that thing's in the rearview mirror. We got to lock in. We got to get ready for the Saints, who's a hell of a football team. We're in it. And again, now anything can happen.
First up, Pat Finley.
Hey Matt, how are you? Were you made aware at any point during the game what was going on with the Rams? And if not, when did you find out that they had won?
Who cares?
And what was your reaction in that moment?
Walking off of the field after the game, I was told of the score. I still don't even know the score. I think it was 18-7 or something is what I was told. I don't know if that's right or not.
It is.
And so that was that. Again, I've never been in this situation, so sorry for, being a little bit not, you're excited because you're in, right? But the message to the players, because you got, 65 guys looking at you in that locker room, like, man, we wanted to win this game and we didn't. But the message was a lot of honesty that, hey, when we wake up tomorrow, let's go and let's regroup and let's get after it. I don't know when we play, but I do know we play the Saints, and so that's when I found out.
Matt, who told you?
Oh my God. Who cares, Patrick Finley? I love you, but don't ask those questions. Don't waste our time.
Biggs.
Oh my goodness, Patrick, I love you, but please.
Matt, do you feel like you guys have closed the gap?
What soda were you drinking?
You're breaking up there, Brad. I heard you're frozen right now. You said
we lost you, Brad. We'll come back. JJ.
I was talking over him.
Way to go, Aldo.
The message you gave your team about, hey, it's okay to feel like crap right now. I'm just curious, as you're kind of going through it in that moment, how are you balancing your own emotions? Like you're saying, like, you never been through this before, of like, losing this game, but being excited that there is another game after it.
Yeah. So there's so much stuff, as y'all know, that goes through in my position. When you go through what we went through this year and you lose 6 in a row, for me, you get to that point and you say, okay, here's where we're at. How are we going to get out of this thing? And the only way to do it is by believing in each other. And there's I'm sure even right now, there's a lot of people that jumped off and that didn't want to be a part of it. But our guys understood that, hey, here's where we're at. And we got one thing. We can either just fold up shop and say that's enough, or we can step up and say we got 4 games left. And so as all that stuff was going down, and you work week to week to week, and you win 3 in a row, and now you have this sitting in front of you against a big rival and a great team, the number 1 seed in the NFC at home, and you get what a great opportunity. And so our guys, they had a hell of a practice all week long, was great, and fight, and you get
hell of a practice
the fourth quarter, and then that happens, and then it got out of hand. Then you get in the locker room. And so what I haven't done yet is reflected on, I have to reset myself. I'm still emotionally from this, feeling this game. I'm not at the playoff part yet. So once I get over that here in the next hour or two, it's going to go right on to the Saints. And now, as you all know, anything can happen. But let me just say this, for our team and our players to pull out of a 6-game losing streak, I'm proud of them for that. And now we go, now we go. And I think these guys believe, and anything can happen, as you all know.
Dan Wiederer.
Matt, how tempted were you to go for it on 4th and goal from the 2 when you settled for the 20-yard field goal? And then also on the 4th and 1, what most agitates you about that sequence?
So I really thought that maybe we should go for it at that 4th and 2, but then you look up and you say, okay, if you don't get it, you end up getting the 3 points and you keep it within that less than a touchdown. And now if you get a touchdown, you're up and you're winning, right exactly where we were at that 4th and 1. And then the 4th and 1 situation, it's just 4th and 1. We got to get that. And then 3rd and 1 before that. I'm not going to get into the why part.
Sorry, guys.
That's just for me and the coaches and the players. And I just I want to get that. And that one bothers me.
Brad Biggs.
Matt, do you feel like you guys have been able to close the gap with the Packers this season, or is it too early to kind of take inventory on that type of thing?
Well, for us, so you look at the first game that occurred, versus this second game, and they're totally two totally different styles of games. When you have Aaron Rodgers on the bench for as long as we had him on the bench, now when he was out there, he was playing pretty well, but we did come out and get crucial stops in the third quarter, which was great. I mean, our defense put us in a great position offensively. Closing the gap, obviously we haven't when you lose 2 games like we did. So the only thing that we can do is now reshift our focus to New Orleans. But I mean, they're playing. Green Bay is playing really well right now. I mean, you guys see that. There's a reason why they play the way they play, and they're a good football team, and you have to give them credit.
Jason Leisure.
Jason will ask.
Matt, you seem to be ambivalent right now, like you're kind of compartmentalizing the season and then what comes ahead. As far as the season goes, 8-8, losing to Green Bay a couple times. I'm getting the impression from you you're not satisfied with that part of it.
Well, again, right now it's an hour or whatever. It's about an hour after the game, so I'm just emotional from that side of it because we put in so much time, man, into getting this win, and that's where. So I'm allowed to, I feel this way right now, and then once I get over this, Jason, I'll get through this and shoot. It's my job. It starts with me is to make sure that we do everything we can as coaches to get our players ready to realize that. It's a clean slate tomorrow, and you guys know it. I mean, there's been anything can happen once you get in the playoffs. Anything, especially this year too. It's crazy the way things are going. So, our guys have the right mindset, and I would probably be a little bit upset if our locker room was just like going crazy and celebrating and being excited in the locker room after the game. I'd be a little bit concerned, and our guys weren't. So they'll reshift their focus and get ready tomorrow.
Couple more for Coach Mike Berman.
Matt, obviously it's great that you get in, but given that you had the 6-game losing skid and had to work your way out of that, given that you're coming off of a tough loss, how much do you think you guys have to give? What's left in the tank?
Oh, a lot. We got a lot to give. And that's, I think, where, I mean, when you guys look at what these guys have done, you can't take anything away from these players. You can't. So, these guys are positive thinkers. They just, that's how they roll. I mean, they for these guys to practice the way they've been practicing after what we went through, for them to put themselves in this position right now, and our coaches too, they coach their tails off to get to this point. And so now, again, like now it's an excitement. You guys are just getting me right now, like an hour after the game. And so I apologize if I'm not all balloons everywhere, but tomorrow it's going to be energetic. There's going to be some juice. The guys are going to heal up. They're going to take care of their bodies. They're going to get mentally right and shoot. Let's go. Like that's where that fire comes from. And no one can take that away from us. And I'm proud of our guys for that.
Adam Hogue.
Hey, Matt, sorry if I missed this earlier, but do you know how bad Roquan Smith's injury is? Do you know if you'll have him in the playoffs? And in general, how do you feel about your defense going into the playoffs?
Yeah, I don't know the extent yet of Roquan. You guys will probably end up, knowing more here, and I will too, 24, 48 hours. He's a tough son of a buck now, so he's tough. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see what the doctors and what Andre say. And then as far as with our defense, I think that they're going to be excited to be able to get an opportunity to play the Saints again. We battled those guys, went into overtime, weren't able to pull it out. Again, have a lot of respect for that organization, and obviously Drew Brees and what he's done in his career, Sean Payton and their defense too. So our defense, again, they're to put us in a position to where we have 4th and 1 in the fourth quarter. And it's 21-15, or whatever it was at that point in time. I'm proud of our guys right now. So it's hard for me to, they're going to fight. They're going to fight their tails off.
Last one, Stacey Dales.
Coach, I can sense obviously you said so emotional still from this game, but how exciting is it to say to your team, because playoff football, you put the regular season behind and it's a brand new season, and that can be part of the message.
So cool, right? I agree, Stacey. I think that for these guys, there's a lot of other teams right now. We were a part of that last year. It stinks when you got to go home after the last game of the regular season. But, now enjoy your hard work. Enjoy what you invested these last 3 to 4 weeks to get to this point. Okay. And so those guys are going to do that. And tomorrow it's a complete reset and reshift, because just like you said, anything can happen. And we know that we have the pieces. Our guys care. And when you have a care factor, now you got to figure out, okay, where can we get better? And then how do we do that against a really good football team that's well coached? And again, once we get through tonight, tomorrow is going to be fun. There's going to be energy and excitement, and you guys will probably see a little bit more of a smile on my face than right now.
Thanks, Coach. We're all set.
Okay.
All righty, fellas.
I got it. First and foremost, I love the comments from the chat room about some of the some questions they were asking Nagy because of just, hey, who told you the news about the playoffs? And it's like, hey, Matt, how'd you get to the game? what are you doing?
What color underwear are you wearing?
Yeah, so if you're watching the video version of this, and I was cracking up the entire time because I was watching the scroll, and so that I appreciate the levity from some of the people.
Now,
in the chat room.
and I should say, and John knows this, he's written for newspapers and he's been in the broadcast media as well. So we understand why the question's being asked by Patrick Finley. He's a writer for ESPN, so he wants to frame his story,
Sure.
Nagy found out about him. So he's asking those questions. But I just feel like you got an opportunity here to ask some in-depth questions about some of the play calling, about some of the situations, about some of the injuries. Because he when he started the press conference, he didn't talk about the injuries sustained in a game and so forth. There's so many other things to talk about that are much more relevant than trying to frame your story with, when Matt Nagy walked off the field, he was told.
I understand what Pat. He's building his lead for the story, and I would not be surprised if that quick anecdote is the lead to his story. If you read it, it'll probably be at the top of the article. So I understand what he's doing there, but whenever you're listening to it, kind of holistically, it's just like, oh my God, who cares?
Exactly. I know a lot of people were making fun of him, but really, what are you going to do if you're the head coach of Chicago Bears? You've got to come out there and talk about the fact that you're proud of the players, that you're proud that they weren't celebrating, that you're proud that you're happy that you got a chance to get into the playoffs. You know that something great can happen because it's happened before. And so you're hoping, that your team can correct itself, make the necessary improvements to make a long run into the playoffs, and who knows, maybe even get into the Super Bowl. It wouldn't be the first time that a team that you said, well, this team doesn't really deserve to be in the Super Bowl, but we're in the Super Bowl. It wouldn't be the first time that happened. So that's the hope here, guys. We are Chicago Bears fans. Chicago Bears are in the postseason. Let's take it, man, and let's not worry about anything else. Yeah, we're gonna bitch and moan about the 4th and 1 call and another pass play and not disguising things. And
well, since you brought it up, Aldo, can we talk about that 4th and 1 real quick? Because I don't know what did you see that went wrong there? Do you think that are we talking about the throw to A-Rob where it seemed to be the only option because Jimmy Graham kind of ran up the field a little bit? So who do you put that on? Because did you not like the play call to begin with, or was it Jimmy Graham kind of torpedoed it? Because I don't know. It looked like he was blocking and then kind of just stopped there. Or do you? I mean, you can blame a lot of people for that, but we don't really know who really screwed up, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't particularly love the play call, although you want to go to your money man A-Rob in that situation. The thing is because Graham either ran the wrong pattern or had some brain seizure or something like that, Mitch should have tucked that ball in and run for it. To me, it was just a busted play. The coverage was there all over A-Rob. And then the other 4th down and 1.
Hey, Mitch.
Looks like Mitch is ready. Let's go to him.
Media, we have Mitch Trubisky with us, and we can get started. First up, Adam Hogue.
Hey, Mitch, what are your emotions right now? Obviously, a tough loss to your rival again, but you still make the playoffs.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling. Can you guys hear me? Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah, we can hear you, Mitch.
You can see
It's a
me.
weird feeling. Obviously disappointed from the game, but finding out the news that we got in, I think we just got rewarded for the work we put in the last couple weeks. And even though tonight didn't go the way we wanted, we're in the playoffs, and that's really all that matters. Everyone's 0-0, and we got a good opportunity this week, and we're grateful for that opportunity. So we got to put this one aside. We got to look at it and learn from it, and then put it aside and come ready to win next week because we got a great opportunity.
Dan Wiederer.
Mitch, Matt seemed particularly agitated about not being able to convert the 4th and 1 when you guys were going down for a potential go-ahead drive. What did you see on that sequence, and what could have made that play convert when it was 4th and 1 at the 25?
I thought that was a situation where they had a better call on than we did, and they executed better than we did. So I think credit goes to them. And I think the only thing we could have done in that situation was maybe run something else against that look, but it's a tough play. We converted some 4th downs earlier in the game, and they got us on that one. So you got to give them credit, but I think we look at that, learn from it, don't dwell on it, make sure we get better from it, and then next time it happens, we convert it.
The topic of your mixed emotions, how difficult is this, I guess, over the next 2-3 hours to try to reconcile today's performance versus the opportunity that's ahead?
I think just focus on staying in the moment, and in that you're obviously analyzing your emotions, and it's okay to look at the game tonight, but it's got to be in a positive fashion because there's things we did tonight that we could get better at, but there's also things that we did were really good. So we just got to look at it, make sure we're getting better, but also staying positive and looking forward because we have another week. So you can't let it affect the next of the week. We can't let it affect tomorrow. So you just got to look at it as a new opportunity. We have a new life going into the playoffs now. We're grateful for that. So we got to go back to work. So we got to stay positive, keep the energy up, and just realize that the next game is the most important one now.
Mark Potash.
Hey, Mitch, so much is on the quarterbacks in the playoffs, and I know the offense has been a big part of of what you've done lately. But how do you feel, especially considering today and just the way the season's going? How do you feel about where you stand right now as leading this team going into the playoffs? Not the offense, but you in particular, where you are right now leading this team into the playoffs.
I feel good. I feel like I'm in a good mental space. Obviously, I like to do some things different tonight to give us a better chance to win. But I feel like I've gotten better over these last couple of weeks, and for the most part of that game, we were in a good position to compete towards the end, and then we just let it get out of the hand. Really, after that 4th and 1 was really the turning point for us when the game was 21-16 and we were going down the score. So we were there to compete, but we got to be able to finish games, and a big part of that is my play. But I'm confident in what we can do going forward.
Pat Finley.
Mitch, what do you remember about Saints Week earlier this year? And I know when you got benched, you talked about being able to soak everything in and prepare as though you're the starter. Might you actually see the benefits of whatever sort of study you did then next week?
I don't remember much. I remember I went in for one play, and it was a QB run, and I landed on my shoulder wrong. So that was unfortunate. That was pretty much the only thing I remember. I'll have to go back into my notes and see what else was going on in that game that I think that could help us going into this week. So we have a great opportunity. We know we're going down, and we're going to play a really good football team. But I think definitely looking at that game and what we saw from them, just learning from that and seeing what we can do better this time.
JJ?
Mitch, what does it mean to you to have another shot at being a starting quarterback in the playoffs now?
It's huge. I mean, this is what you work for. The season didn't go the way we envisioned it, but
I'm sorry.
You have a new opportunity, so really none of that matters.
I can't take it anymore. I think that our Chicago media is having a worse day than the Chicago Bears to just not ask you the right questions. If, for me, and maybe other people can appreciate where they're going.
Real quick, Aldo. Before we bring Bobby on, I was just thinking that It's got to be a hard article to write, and I'm looking at this from the ex-journalist point of view, where you're trying to find a narrative to write for your story where the Bears just got shellacked, but you're trying to make this into a playoff preview as well. So I get the referencing of the New Orleans story, because you're probably going to try to segue into that. It's a hard story to write, because it's just like, what's the tone of this? Is it jubilant? Is it frustrating? So I get why that's struggling. I'm not defending the media in this situation, but I can see why it would be difficult sometimes.
But guess what? That's why they got us, John. That's why they got us. So once again, thank everybody for coming on. I'm excited to have my buddy Body Pay. But real quick, a couple things. First of all, that's Mitch Trubisky, our playoff leading quarterback, ladies and gentlemen. So at the end of the day, we're going to take it for what it is. The Packers have only lost 3 games. They lost to Tampa Bay. They lost to the Colts. They lost to the Vikings. Well, guess what? We beat Tampa Bay. There's not that many other teams that beat the Packers. So they want to say, how do we get in? How do we get in? All of that? Shout out to everybody in the chat. Even my bro, shout out Game 6. The Chicago Bears, John, the last 2 to 3 years have made the playoffs. At the end of the day, it's the numbers. When you talk about contracts, when we talk about giving out money, they're going to say, what have you done for me lately? What have you done for a body of work? What has Mitch Trubisky done that has me encouraged about the fact he started the second half 11 for 11, bro. He started David Montgomery over the last 6 games, improved his yards per carry by 3 yards. These are things that, like, yo, we can actually do something in the play in the playoffs. I don't want my team to be embarrassed in the playoffs. I'm all about trying to put a good product onto the field. Could we do something? I think we could do something, because if our defense can play inspired, they talking about the Jags and who you beat. Stop complaining. Did y'all forget that the Jets then beat something? The Jets just beat the Rams. Y'all forget the Bengals and Bears. The Bengals embarrassed the Pittsburgh Steelers. How about the Cardinals that had Michael Jordan at quarterback, who the season was looking great? They just missed the playoffs. The Cardinals just missed the playoffs. How about the shoe was on the other foot, Bears Nation? Real quick, look how easily you could not be in for our team to be there, and for Mitch Trubisky, you couldn't write a better story. This is the best you could ever feel after losing to the Packers. No. After losing to the Packers, everything you want to break everything. If you're me, I got to punch him back right there after the punch him back. But to lose to the Packers and you're going to the playoffs, it's like, man, that sucks. But it's like, all right, we haven't. If you're truly that mad, you have an opportunity to do something about it. Welcome to the show from Bar Flight Tailgate Show, Mr. Bobby Barnes. Talk to the people, fellas. Baby.
What's up, man? Hey, so I get it, John. I'm totally in agreement. I know the media is gonna do what they want to do, right? And they're gonna not do what they want to do, but they're gonna softball the questions up, right? I mean, they got jobs too, man. That's how they feed their kids. That's how they pay their mortgage. Asking the wrong questions could make that stop, and that's understandable in some points of it, right? On the other side, though, with Tyler, with Mitch. Yeah, Mitch he was started, I think, from like the second to almost through the middle of the third. He was like 20 for 21 or somewhere in there, right? But when you only allow somebody to work so hard, or you only give somebody the minimal amount of tasks to continue, I mean, if you're going 20 for 21 on 4-yard passes and 8-yard passes, and you're not really like making this dude work, it's a different story than if you're actually trying to make him work and building him up. To take a quarterback, right, and make him throw, or doing one of the main things that I'm upset with is that Matt Nagy has the play sheet in his hand again. Ian Rappaport confirmed it earlier today that Nagy says he's calling plays again for today. And then we turn around and we kind of looked like we looked 5-6 weeks ago. We kind of see these little dink and dunk passes. We see a little, maybe less of a run game, but we see like these little things that we know are Nagy style. I mean, if I have a successful employee and this dude, I give him a shot 5 weeks ago, and this dude has done shit that hasn't been done since 1965, just because I'm in a rivalry game or I'm in a game of like winning in, do I take it away from him, or do I let this guy continue to be successful? And that's one of the main problems that I had with the game. And obviously the fourth and one. Why are you even in shotgun? Like, whatever, just beast body. If you went down there and ran another quarterback sneak for the third time in a row to convert on fourth down, you know how much, how you would have just demoralized that defensive line, and you would have set an emotional advantage for your team. I just think there was a lot of things wrong with this game. And yeah, another thing that I love what Nagy said is there was no celebrating in the locker room. If they would have went in there and there was like club dub videos coming out, I would have been totally upset because you didn't do this. You didn't do this for yourself. I said it on Barfly Tailgate this morning. You found a lottery ticket blowing down the street and it just happened to win you $20. Now you could take that 20 and make it into something more, or you could take that 20 and blow it. But right now you got a little advantage. So do what you will with it and continue from there.
And that's a reason to be excited. That's a reason to be freaking excited, because what are you going to do with it? If we come out and beat the Saints, oh snap.
We playing the Packers again.
And there you go. But for the fact that, let's get back to this game real quick. Shout out to my man in the chat, forgot who said it. 3 interceptions dropped in this game.
Yeah.
But the one from Mingo could have been a pick 6, ladies and gentlemen. So think about, this is a game of inches. When Bobby was talking about that fourth down that we should have did for that the last one, that we were still down by 5. We were going down to take the lead. When that demoralized even probably the team. We kind of lost control of the game from that standpoint. So Bobby's talking about the coaching or the play calls from that. So as bad as I don't want us being hard on the players, because I knew this game matters to them. I know this game matters to them. You're not a freaking Chicago Bear. You know who that is. I saw the trenches. I looked at the line of scrimmage. I mean, I went to see guys after the whistle was played. How did body language? Are they really being lackadaisy? I saw guys bumping their shoulders and being tripped. I'm like, all right, cool. That's what's up. Like, don't be happy. This ain't the time to be happy. This is a fight. And at the end of the day, we did not win this fight. But it's not about celebrating. We didn't just back into it. No, we won our game last week. If we didn't win those games, we wouldn't be here. Period.
I don't know, bro.
No.
I don't think I agree with that, though.
It doesn't matter if you agree with it or not. Those are the facts. We won the last 3-4 games in a row. If we didn't win them, we wouldn't be in the playoffs. That's the simple. Those are the facts, ladies and gentlemen.
But you just got done talking about coulda, shoulda, wouldas. If Kyler Murray plays all 4 quarters, then the Cardinals might beat the Rams, and we're talking about so are we going to talk about coulda, shoulda, wouldas, or are we talking about the facts?
John, you're forgetting the fact that Kyler Murray's been struggling over the past couple weeks, buddy. It was
he would have been a hell of a lot better than that guy who looked like who I have no idea. I've never heard of him before in my life. He wouldn't have done better than that.
Right. But guess what? The Rams still had a backup quarterback in. The Rams still had their backup. Okay, then.
Who got an entire week of prep, unlike the guy that got thrown in after Kyler Murray got hurt. I don't care. Listen, I don't care about that game. We're not talking about that game. What I'm talking about here is we can be pissed off right now because we lost the game. The Bears lost the game. I'm angry about that. Okay. I'm going to be thrilled. I'm going to be thrilled tomorrow because they're going to be in the playoffs. They're in the playoffs.
Tomorrow we're going to do another show. So
I'm doing one on Tuesday, so it'll be probably a different tone. I'm thrilled they're in the playoffs. We get to talk about the Bears going into the 2020 playoffs, and I'm thrilled about that. Okay. Today, I'm pretty pissed off because I don't think they had a good enough game plan. Like Bobby was saying, you really put the training wheels back on the offense. And like we said at the top of the show when we were talking about Mitch, I'm not saying he lost the game, and he did what the coaches were asking of him, but I don't think what their game plan or what they expected him to do, they have so little confidence in this quarterback that they weren't letting him do anything really. And they were sniffing out those play actions. That's why there was a Green Bay Packer there every time he rolled out. And it was so predictable that it was kind of doomed from the start. But we're allowed to be angry right now and be mad that this team did fall ass backwards into the playoffs. We can say that. I don't want to hear about the last 3 weeks where they beat these teams because they lost 6 before that. They fell ass backwards into the playoffs. And we can be mad about that, and we can kind of feel pretty lucky about the 2020 happened to be the year they added an extra playoff team. Because if this is 2019, we're not talking about the Bears in the playoffs right now. Yeah. But we are talking about them.
And I think
Go ahead, Bobby. Go ahead, Bobby.
I think we can all look at it as like, and you know, I know me 100%, but I'm certain everybody in the chat and you guys too have had a job where there's too many Chiefs and not enough Indians, right? There's guys telling you this, there's guys telling you that, and this and that. And I think we can look at that fourth down play. We can look at some of these plays where Graham obviously doesn't know what to do, where, you know, where certain things go down that aren't common or they haven't been doing them week after week after week. And I think that it just causes more confusion, man. And I truly believe that that Matt Nagy, I think he can be a great head coach. I think he can. But I hands down think he's a shit offensive coordinator. I think he cannot be an offensive coordinator. He could be a great coach, but his problem is he wants to be both, and he wants to be great at both. And I get it. You're a grown-ass man, and men, every one of us, you want to be great at everything that you do. But I think he is outmatched in the offensive coordinating side, and that he is confusing his team, and he's confusing their style and what is their MO? What is their chemistry? Like, what is this team? Is this a rush first team? Is this a pass first team? Like, what are we, the greatest show on turf, or are we running? We're obviously not a black and blue defense. I mean, we get beaten black and blue, but we're not doing it to anybody else. And I think that there's a lot of confusion, man. If anybody's job is on the line, I would say it's Chuck Pagano. And then number one after that, or number two or whatever after that, is Matt Nagy is told, hey, you're a head coach. You're not an offensive coordinator. Who do you want to call the plays? Because you're not doing it anymore. Take the menu out of his hand. Take the play sheet away and let his offensive coordinator do their job.
Aldo, tomorrow I'm gonna talk about the Packer game and be mad with John, but tomorrow let's go live so we can celebrate, because I'm excited that Mr. Trubisky has an opportunity to prove himself as a Chicago Bears quarterback in the playoffs. But before this game, guys, hindsight is 2020, right, Jordan? It's like at the end of the day, we had Darnell Mooney over 11 catches, over 90 yards. If Mr. Trubisky forced the ball yes, you did. If Mr. Trubisky forces the ball to Allen Robinson, I mean, he throws interceptions. The thing, Aaron Rodgers threw more bad throws than Mr. Trubisky did in this game. Yeah. that were game deciding touchdowns. We didn't, but there were some 50-50 balls that Mr. Trubisky trusted his players, just like Rodgers trusted Adams on the behind throw. But Kmet didn't go up on that interception. Kmet looked like Superman all game. I thought he was he's taller than those guys. He's stronger than those guys. I mean, he could have went for a foul. Kmet didn't even turn into a DB on that play, which most veteran wide receivers would know how to do. And so all these different things that go against the quarterback for an errant throw, when the game would have been completely different if Aaron Rodgers had 3 interceptions, because with those 3 interceptions, he only has 1 to 2 touchdowns in this game. And that's when that's the back inside of the third quarter when this game, the fourth quarter when this game was lost. Because once again, the Packers did not score in the third quarter.
No, I'll let John go, and I'll let John take this. But I'm just saying. So look, I'm not mad at Mitch. I'm not mad at Kmet. I'm not mad at any of these dudes.
Oh, I know you're not. I'm talking
my problem is the schematics of it all, dude. Why are you putting your quarterback in a position to run that play and throw that ball into double coverage? You're doing it because you're not building off of anything. You're not making, your game is not like, it's not building and building and building throughout. We're not doing that. And then we put Mitch in a position to go to a play that we haven't run off of play action. We haven't done anything off of. And we're throwing it. We're forcing it into double coverage because that's the kid's only read. And yet, does he want to be successful? Of course he does. And Mitch forces plays. We know that. We know he forces balls. And we have to accept it at this point because otherwise we got Nick Foles, right? But the thing is, you're not building any success for this kid to do anything. I'm not saying that I think he's an all-pro or a Pro Bowler or any of that shit. I'm just saying that you're not feeding your people like proper nutrition to go, man. And he can't build on a game because, I mean, I'm feeding John 2 pieces of bread a day and I tell him to go box against Tyson. Like, what's he going to do? He's gonna.
Wouldn't matter what you fed me, Bobby. I'll be honest with you.
I think you got a shot, man. I'm putting 50 on you.
Give me a tomato can, and we'll see what we can do. But I'm not going in with a 50-year-old Tyson. But Bobby, you said exactly what I was going to say, and I'm sure that I came off as hating Mitch to go off this, and I said that he didn't have a great game, and I said, but the blame was to go around for that. It wasn't just him. It was the like you said, the schematics of it all. Because if you only give the guy one or two reads and they're not there, well, then what are you really building off of? And then he did try to force the Allen Robinson thing. Should he have ran it? Probably, but he did try to force that pass. So that's what's a little concerning moving forward. Because is Nagy calling 100% of the plays? Is Laser doing something? Because there was reports earlier with the dysfunction of the Jets that Adam Gase was splitting play calls with who's out there? Dowell Loggins, is that who's out there in New York? they were going 50-50 on play calls depending on the situation. Is that the kind of system they got in Chicago? I don't know, because there really is no transparency with that, unless you really see Nagy with his face down in his Denny's menu, and then we know that what's going on there. But that is concerning, and it looks like they tried to be super safe in this game, and they were able to have some long drives, and we saw that in the first drive looked great. I'll go back to that and say that was a fantastic drive. They ate up over half the quarter, and they put a touchdown on the board. But eventually things catch up, or the defenses catch on what you're doing, and it just didn't work anymore. It looked like they tried to go super safe, take the air out of the ball, deflate it, and try to grind out one of these 13-6 games, and that was never going to happen.
Yeah.
Let me show a play again. I got really down on Chuck Pagano earlier in the show, and I want to show why, because he calls these blitzes where he has guys who are just much better at rushing forward than they are at dropping back. So let me show you this one play. This was a big play in the game. Let me call it up here. This is Aaron Rodgers throwing back, and look at Akeem Hicks. He's going to drop back into coverage. See him right there? My finger's going to point at him. There he is, dropping back into coverage. And then Josh Woods, who has come in for the injury, Roquan Smith, he looks lost. There is Akeem Hicks right in front of him. He looks like, who am I going to guard? And then you have Danny Trevathan following the wide receiver off to the right. This is just a Pagano mishmash of defensive play calling. It just doesn't make any sense.
Aldo, go back. Aldo, rewind it. Aldo, rewind it to the beginning.
So while you're rewinding it,
even on this play, even the play call was a fake A-gap blitz by Danny Trevathan. That's why he got beat like that. First of all, Danny before that, Danny fakes a gap, and then he goes too lateral rather than going straight back. But like I said, this is Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. Everything else was covered, but as soon as Aaron saw Danny fake a gap, he knew he had standing over top. It was, but then like you see Woods, who did not get back out of, just like you said. So, but these are the plays that automatic, and this is when they scored 14. This is when they went up 14. I believe when they went up 14-7. This is when you put pressure on the offense to come back and deliver. But like this is more Aaron Rodgers saying, "Oh, Chuck, you thought you were gonna get me with the Tampa? No, sir. No, you're not." So Danny Trevathan can only do but so much. Like that's a
yeah. No, I totally agree with Trevathan can only do so much, right? But this is a play that I actually tweeted about and talked about. Because there's no tight end here, right? There's no running back. And right now you have your 4 offensive linemen, and you end up taking Akeem Hicks, a dude who does what in a game? He's a game destroyer against people, right? And you drop Akeem back into a spy package on Aaron Rodgers. So, like, question is, and let's pretend that this pass isn't thrown. If Rodgers rolls left here, say he rolls left, do either of you or any of you think that Akeem Hicks chases down Rodgers before he makes a first down? Because you have Akeem Hicks in a spy package. It's a horrible play call. Not to mention Danny T covering, because I've said earlier also that our linebackers, without Roquan Smith, minus Roquan, our linebackers are They have no coverage skills.
But
they have
Bobby,
zero
you got Duke Shelley coming in from the left. Watch, Duke Shelley was blitzing on this play. You see him coming in right here to the left?
Right.
He's coming in, and he actually hits Rodgers. So it wasn't so much about him going left. It's clear and simple. This is about Danny Trevathan guarding a wide receiver in the slot. This is about Akeem Hicks,
deep threat,
who should be pressuring forward and having contained then on Rodgers so he doesn't get out of the pocket. This is just basic football. And Chuck Pagano, because he wants to be an exotic defensive play caller, because he wants to be known as this genius, the smartest guy in the room, he comes up with stuff like that. We've seen Robert Quinn in that first game against the Packers this year.
Tonight,
did it again.
Line on the
did it again.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, tonight they did it again.
And that has just not worked repeatedly. And so what is Chuck Pagano doing? We've been preaching, hey, let's just get back to old-fashioned Bear football and give the ball to David Montgomery and run the ball. It's the same thing with the defense. Let's get back to old-fashioned Chicago Bears defense. Let's beat them one-on-one, and let's get to the passer. Let's have fast DBs guarding wide receivers as opposed to 31-year-old old linebackers guarding wide receivers. Yeah. To me, it's mind-blowing. And, again, I hate to call for somebody's job, but to me, I can't see how you keep Chuck Pagano around unless you send him to a deprogramming class to
make him a DB coach. Make him a DB coach, because that's where Chuck belongs. Chuck belongs in the DB coach. Chuck belongs as a DB coach where he started with the Ravens and where he was. His outside linebacker, what was his name for the Ravens, was actually a DB converted linebacker. I mean, we had Urlacher, right? Urlacher was a safety converted linebacker, and you can get away with that shit. Even though Pagano wasn't here, you could have got away with that, right? I think you could have. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe people disagree, but I think you could have got away with that. But where we're at in this game, it doesn't work like that anymore. And the linebackers that we have, Woods, Iggy, Danny, any of them, man, Matt, like everybody who plays linebacker, the only person out of any of them that I would trust to cover a tight end, let alone a wide receiver in the slot, is Roquan. And I know Josh got lucky earlier in the game. He put his hands up. He was facing the wrong way. He put his hands up. He was looking out the back of the end zone, and he got lucky. 100% he got lucky.
Guys in the chat are on the money. That play totally would have worked if we had Urlacher. That would probably been an Urlacher.
Wait, did they say that about a lot
of plays? Of course. Did
they actually say that?
Yeah, they did. They totally did. But the thing about it is, like I said, and somebody else also said it in the chat, it's the fact that it was Aaron Rodgers against a lesser. This is Chuck losing the battle against Aaron Rodgers. A more novice quarterback is probably an interception. Akeem Hicks is probably in coverage because guess what? We were getting killed on the drag routes anyway. A more novice quarterback rushes that throw. I'm just telling you off the bat. Aaron Rodgers not only that was a quick throw. Go back to the throw. Like if you're in the game, even as an athlete's eyes, Aaron Rodgers chucks that really fast. As soon as he sees, it's like cerebral. He's like Professor X with it. He threw it before it was open. And so he threw it to the spot. The guy ran to go get it before because he beat Danny 6 steps off the line because we saw Duke Shelley coming. And so a lesser quarterback, that happens. But guess what? It was the fact that we didn't respond. That was a game. That was a big blow. We couldn't respond. That's what happens when you don't score touchdowns. And so, but that's what you expect from Aaron Rodgers. But you can have plays that's a defensive breakdown. Those are plays that shall go against the coach. But it's going to be some plays where it's like, man, that was a good play. But it's like it's the plays I have a tough time living with when it's a blown assignment, when a Jimmy Graham doesn't get the proper block to free Allen Robinson open. That's a miscue on us. It's plays like that where I'm like, man, this game will look different if we just execute. It doesn't matter what you're talking about or like talking about all your emotions all you want. But if you're not willing to execute, you're not going to have the desired results, ladies and gentlemen.
So what if I told you that Akeem was supposed to run a stunt there and he realized that it was a pass and he decided on his own accord to drop back?
Then you get the result. I mean, that's what it looked like. I mean,
I'm just saying. I don't know. It could
be a miscue. We will never know the truth. but like I said, it would be the Packers. From what I saw, I saw two good plays from Rodgers, two really good plays. That one touchdown pass I was talking about earlier, John, when he was fading to the right. Other than that, he took advantage of us being out of position.
Well, you made a good point. I want to talk about this real quick before we move on to something. Is that I don't know if that, and it was in the chat, so I'm not going to take credit for that, but I forget who it was, but they said I don't know if that fake A-gap blitz was supposed to be a fake, or if that was Danny on his own accord doing that and then getting torched, and that's an extra 1 or 2 seconds. And then to compensate, it looked like, and I have to go back to play to look at it again, but it looked like he automatically assumed it was going to be an out route, so that's why he moved lateral and he was moving towards the sidelines. And by the time he took 2 steps towards the sidelines, MVS was already 3 yards past him, and it was game over after that. So was it a designed fake A-gap blitz and then he got torched, or did, like Bobby was saying, did he take it on his own accord to fake that and then try to overcompensate by thinking it was going to be an out route, ran laterally, and then the dude was behind him? So I mean, you can there could be blame to go around there. Either way, I don't like the play call. I mean, I just don't like that. But what can you do now?
A rookie quarterback seeing a Danny Trevathan in an A-gap fake panics, not Aaron Rodgers. And so that's what we just seem to forget is freaking Aaron Rodgers. Can't stand this dude, but he is a machine. And so Danny's not fast enough. Respectfully, Danny's the truth, man. That play earlier in the game when Aaron Jones, that's a top 5 running back, ladies and gentlemen, that the Chicago Bears bottled up. The Chicago Bears were getting gashed by the running game all season long. The job they did on the running game today, like the first 3 quarters, was very impressive. Like Aaron Rodgers beat us today. That is what happened.
This is my issue, right? When people say that's a top 5 linebacker, right?
Whoa. That's not what I said.
No. When people say that's a top run or linebacker, right? Or that's a great linebacker, whatever. My problem is it depends. There's different like trains of thought on a linebacker. If you want your linebacker to blitz and fill and be able to tackle and not let linemen get to the second level and get in his face, then I think Danny T can do it. But if you're expecting your linebacker to cover, I think Danny loses fucking 9 out of 10 times.
No, I would say Aaron Jones is a top 5 running back.
You said top 5. Okay. I know, but I'm just saying like people with the whole Danny T, I think he's a great linebacker. I don't want him to play corner. I don't want him to play coverage. I want him to play linebacker. I don't want like we always said, well, I want him going this way, not that way. Like I don't mind if he shades.
You don't want Robert Quinn in coverage.
Yeah, exactly. And that's I think that's where Pagano was given a team that he doesn't know what to do with. And granted, we're in the playoffs. Maybe the organization turns around and says, "Hey, Chuck, you did great this year. We're in the playoffs." You're right? Like, no, I mean, let's split it and not be Bears fans for a second, right? The Bears are before today. They're the number 11th ranked defense in the league. It's better than half, right? I mean, it's better than half. Nobody gives a shit who you played at the end of the day. It's where do you sit? We all know that that's how they look at it. They look at it as stats and where do you sit as a team by the end of the year? And they were number 11 going into today. I don't know where they're going to be now, probably a little deeper, but either way, I'm just saying he's probably still going to be in the top half of the league. So I know all of us have our issues with him. I have a lot of issues with him. I'm just saying, when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, when you macro this thing instead of micro in it, you're kind of like, okay, well, he's in the top whatever. Like, what do we have that we're going to do better with? And that's the same thing that I feel is with Mitch, is with Nagy, is with this whole organization, is we're a little above average, but we're not good enough for the city. What happens next?
But Bobby, is that the playmakers on defense making up despite 100%. Their coach? Okay.
Or lack thereof. I mean,
are they making up for lack of coaching?
I mean, it's both. I mean, yes, John, they are. But at the same time, Eddie Jackson dropping the interception. Like, so you got to be. It's a double-edged sword.
Or dropped one, yeah.
And so these are all critical plays that change the whole component of the game. Aldo, what you got, brother?
I want to look at another play from the second quarter. And again, let's remember that the Packers scored 21 points in that second quarter, and that was a really, really difficult thing to overcome for this team. This is and the 21 points starts in part because of Cole Kmet's fumble on this play here. Let me go back here. You guys can see this, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So this is after the Vikings score to make it a 14-10 game. And on the second play of this series, Mitch hits Cole Kmet for that little play. And
I think he's down. And I think it's close enough that he could have been called. It could have went either way.
But because the call on the field was
right,
there wasn't enough evidence to overturn.
Let me just say, and I tweeted this the second that happened. I said, I think NFL referees are getting really comfortable with just putting on the field, making the call that automatically sends it to replay. Now, the problem with that is if it's not conclusive like it is there, then the call you made on the field has to stand. And so I think that the referees all the times are now deferring to, oh, that was a fumble. Let's go review it. Oh, sorry, not enough evidence. We're going to keep it a fumble, even though it's not. Or, oh, no, that it looks like it looks like it was a touchdown. We're going to go back and let's see if he was out of bounds. Oh, nope, not enough evidence. So we're going to go ahead and keep the play on the field. I think it's a nice cushion to say, let's just make the call on the field that automatically throws it to a replay, and then we can make our decision on that. Because I think if that wasn't just an automatic replay, I think some referees would have said he's down. But because they can go back and get the replay on it, they're going to say, okay, let it play out. Because if we blow the whistle and it was a fumble, then they don't get the ball. They're just going to defer to whatever throws it to replay.
I'll tell you what I think. This is what I think. I think Cole Kmet is a Chicago kid that he wants to bury a Packer every single time he catches a pass, and it doesn't matter. He wants to plow people over. He wants to you've seen it. The kid's a beast.
I love it.
And I think he came with more fire in this game, not because it was a win-in game, because it was against the Packers. And you've seen him earlier today. He was plowing people over and doing things. I think he's a rookie. He tried to do too much. And whatever, whichever way the call goes, I get it. Do I think he was down? Of course I do. I'm a Bears fan. But in the grand scheme of things, I love this kid. I love the fire and just everything that he brings to the game. He was plowing through people, and I'm gonna go with that he's a Chicago born and raised kid, and he wants to run a Packer over, and that's it.
Wait a minute. None of that shit matters. What matters is that he has had some ball protection issues in his rookie season, and he's got to get those corrected right away. This is not the only time that he has had issues. In the very Packer game, that the first game, Bears and Packers, he drops a ball at the goal line, drops it into the end zone, and the play had to be reviewed, and they gave it to the Bears. And the Bears, and the next play, they throw that jump ball to A-Rob. He misses it, and they settle for a field goal. It's 6-3. Instead, it should have been 7-6. Both of those plays, the Kmet drop at the goal line and the A-Rob jump pass, both of those should have been touchdowns, but they did not execute. And so back to this game, after Cole Kmet fails to protect the ball all the way down to the ground, you get the Bears defense toughens up on the first two downs, but we get to this third down and 4 play. And it's Rodgers, quick pass. Again, this is a perfect example of how come we're not sacking Aaron Rodgers. Look at how quick he's getting rid of this ball.
Thank you, Otto. Thank you.
Thank you. Rid of this ball before you can throw a fart and say, excuse me, it is out of his hands. So now you've got a first down inside the 15-yard line. There were a couple of penalties here. And then Rodgers takes advantage of Roquan Smith, his absence, and he's got a wide open third-string tight end that he hits for the touchdown. And again, look at Rodgers throwing off his back foot. This is majesty, guys. You guys may hate Aaron Rodgers.
No, I think he's fucking brilliant.
That's what I'm saying.
A great quarterback.
A normal quarterback.
I think he's brilliant, man. Look, I hate him. Don't get me wrong. I hate him, but I think he's brilliant. I think Aaron Rodgers as a quarterback, the way that he does the shy little Phillip Rivers, I don't know if anybody in the chat knows, but Phillip Rivers talks a lot of shit. He doesn't swear in it, but he talks a lot of crap in a game. Rodgers tends to do the same thing with the smiles and the smirks and the after plays comments to people.
I can't stand it.
And he does it, but those guys can do it. They can do it because they will pick you apart and they will go back. And another thing, I mean, and granted, he deserves all of it. But another thing is when Rodgers comes to the sidelines and he tells a coach something, it gets changed. When Mitch or anybody else comes to the sidelines and tells a coach something, it's we'll take a look at it. There's a level of, belief in the system and a level of belief in what he's doing that I guarantee, I can't say that we know, right? But as soon as Roquan came out of the game, that Rodgers was like, let's pick on the linebackers. Let's go. I have this. I will pick them apart. Line, give me at least 2.9 seconds and I will defeat this team.
Bobby,
and he was
remember the soundbite you had on your show this morning, Barfly Tailgate Show? We played Aaron Rodgers talking about the Bears linebacker crew. What did he say during that soundbite? He said that when he was a rookie, he was hoping that Roquan would have sat out that first game because they knew how gifted he was. He didn't want to see Roquan in his very first game in the NFL. And Roquan's first play as an NFL player, he sacks Aaron Rodgers. And so when Roquan Smith left this game, the first thing he did is, okay, that guy number 55, excuse me, John, I'm so sorry.
I know how to beat him. Yeah.
I know how to beat him. Exactly.
But Aldo, also on that play, on that very play, that's the play that Eddie was tapping Woods. Woods, once again, that was more Woods out of position than Aaron Rodgers. That's what I'm saying.
No, you're right.
That was on us. If Woods drops back, it's a coverage sack. It's a coverage sack. It's an interception. Yeah. It's something. It's a field goal.
But who's that on?
It's on Woods.
It could be.
No,
it
could
possibly
put him in that position.
It could possibly be on Josh Woods, yes.
No, it is.
Or is it on the coaching of where he's supposed to be?
I'm telling you, as a linebacker, when a DB taps you on, when a DB is tapping you, he's telling you a signal. They know what that means. You're going or you're not. Since he did not immediately go as a linebacker, you're supposed to drop back and get back. Yeah. He took his time doing it, and that's what happened. And Aaron Rodgers made him pay for it. Look how close Woods was to tipping it. If he would have jolted back there, it's a coverage sack. But so once again, that's Aaron Rodgers taking advantage of us being out of position, which leads to us not executing a play call, which goes back to coach not. It looks bad on the coach, but once again, that's a play that we could have overcome. Roquan Smith, come on. If we put Roquan, if that's Roquan, his speed.
Hey guys, I want to get back to this topic of the questions that were not asked of Matt Nagy during the press conference, because that was really bothersome to me. And I know everybody in the chat room was really upset about it. Here are 3 questions, and these are based on what the people in the chat room wanted to hear answered. Coach Nagy, were you calling the plays in this game? Tell us how the play calling happened, because there seemed to be something different than in the past. Number 2, Coach, can you tell us a little bit about the blitz packages that were going on? Why is Akeem Hicks dropping back into the middle of the field? Why did you have Danny Trevathan guarding a wide receiver? And then question number 3 that was asked multiple times in the chat room. Coach Nagy, why wasn't Kyle Fuller just following Devontae Adams, the best wide receiver in the National Football League? You got one of the best cornerbacks in pro football. Why wasn't he following him everywhere? In the slot, outside, in the backfield, in the John, out in the parking lot? Why wasn't he following him? Because we want to know the answers to those questions. It's not right that the Chicago media did not pose those questions today. And I'm challenging the Chicago media. Ask those questions Monday morning when the coach, after he's looked at the film, ask those questions then, because those, I think, are fair, bright questions, not some of the questions that we heard today.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree, and they should hold his feet to the fire for that, because just that's a microcosm of what should happen at the end of the season. I want somebody, and it's probably, I don't want the media to ask it. I wish there was a president of football operations that would hold the GM or the head coach accountable at the end of the year and say, okay, Matt, why did it take you so long to give up play calling abilities? And why did you give yourself back play calling abilities if that's what happened at the end of the season? Right. Matt, why were you so quick to go to Nick Foles? And why were you really resistant to go back to Mitch? Hey, Matt Nagy, if Nick Foles doesn't get hurt, does Mitch actually get reinserted into the starting lineup? Hey, why did it take so long to figure out the offensive line? Hey, all you talked about is how Cole Kmet should be getting in the game more. Well, you have the ability to do that. Why wasn't he doing that? So, but just like those questions about this game should be asked too, but I guess the only people that can ask that now are the media when it comes to that press conference tomorrow. So yeah, I want hard questions that need hard answers, because we haven't gotten a whole lot of that this year. And I hope to God those questions are asked by somebody at the end of the season, because those questions need to be addressed as well. Because if this is a coach that has evolved and has figured it out and is going to be the guy in 2021 and they're going to run it back with what they got, let's hope that he actually is evolved and he didn't make these decisions out of desperation because he thought he was going to get fired, and then he can go back to being good old Matt Nagy, who wants to, run his offense through Nick Foles again next year. Let's hope that he didn't just do this because he was on a 6-game losing streak and he had to do something. And then whenever he gets a nod of confidence going into 2021, he's like, I know I can make this Kansas City offense work in Chicago, and then we're going to see it again next year.
And there's no reporter that's going to have the guts to ask those tough questions. That's why I started listening to the Barroom Network in the first place, because I got tired of watered down questions. It's all watered down. I'm like, yo, this is not even. You're not even telling us anything. You're just like, we're just going through the motions for no reason. But the fact of the matter is, we know what we saw. We know what we saw, but we know we should have patience. Not patience. We should just understand we can only stress but so much. If the people that's their jobs are on the line are willing to put that pot, if they're willing to bet their jobs on that performance, then it is what it is. Because black what they call it, Black Monday, Black Friday, it's a situation, but you have an opportunity to do something about it. If you know you're fighting for your job, then do your job right. Communicate those things. I mean, but also Ryan Pace not being available to the media throughout the course of the season. All these different things that play a factor to the frustration with the media when it comes to an NFL franchise, and they're not going to hold those things. But if we had Ryan Pace there, because do we get to talk to Chuck? How often do we get Chuck? We're not. Right? Matt Nagy's not going to give us that answer. Oh, I trust Chuck, and we're going to see where he's at with that. No matter what you ask him, we're going to see where he's at with that. And that's all we're going to get, man. So don't even waste your time or energy on that. At the end of the day, we gotta win. How are we gonna win the next football game? How are we gonna win the next football game? And let's roll the dice. I'm pretty much done with this Packer game, because I really believe we had a chance to win this game, because we were freaking in the lead. And I'll be like, yo, did the Bears go up 7-0 on the Packers? That was pretty dope. And then I'm like, wait a minute, did Matt Nagy just run it back to back on 3rd and shorts to get a first down? What's happening? Is Mitch Trubisky throwing a 4th and 1 pass and converting it? What? Like, I didn't see that many punts by the Bears. I'm like, no, I know, John, I'm sorry I'm playing to the minimum. But I'm just saying, all these little things, I'm like, we didn't have
where we're at now.
But we've never had that, is what I'm saying.
But look, you're never going to beat.
There's no time that I ever saw that I had confidence in my Chicago Bears quarterback throwing a pass on 4th and 1. Like, that's not something that I hope for. No matter how you slice it. So the fact that we showed, there's no excuse here. They came out. I thought we were ready, but like you said, when Roquan went out, I believe that changed everything. Like Aldo said, Wait a minute, Roquan's out. Everything changes. Back to the plan. But also that makes for a better story. Because John, Bobby, Aldo, Roquan comes back when we place the Packers in the round 2, because we're gonna beat the Saints. Once the Bears beat the Saints, when Roquan comes back and he's there and we beat the Packers with Roquan, then what? It's gonna be pretty freaking exciting.
Bobby, real quick, before you make your comment, I just gotta tell John, when you have that professional boxing match And we are all there. I want Tyler to be in your corner because I don't care if you're getting mad. Tyler's going to be there for you, brother.
No, I need him in the corner.
I'm gonna throw in the towel from the second desk. Tyler's going to be telling him that he can beat Tyson, and John's going to be spitting out freaking teeth.
No, the ref's going to be on 16, 17, 18. Tyler's like, you got this. You got it. 24, 25. You're going to win. 52.
And then John,
dude, I love Tyler. Jordan too, man. And Jordan too. The Ellis family they're like, I don't know if any of y'all talk to them or not. Jordan, Tyler's mother, like they're all this is family. That's what they do. Like they will believe in you until you believe in yourself. And they're always gonna do that, man. And I love them. I love them all for it. And I'm just saying though, this whole thing, and I forgot what point I was gonna make while Tyler was talking. Oh, here we go. So you're never gonna beat the Green Bay Packers without Aaron Rodgers throwing picks, without getting turnovers from the offense. You're not gonna do it. You have to be like a top defense to beat this team without getting Aaron Rodgers to make mistakes. And we got him to make mistakes today. We didn't capitalize. That's the issue. You have to capitalize on the mistakes. There was 3 possible turnovers we could have got. The game could have went either way. Special teams did their job, I think. I mean, they got 1 turnover, right? That's probably a good enough job for any special team in the league to get 1 turnover in a game. And to make to capitalize on Aaron Rodgers' mistakes, that's how you beat the Packers. There's really no other way to beat them. And they're the top scoring offense in the league. You're not going to win against his mindset. You're not. And sorry, I know there's over 200 Bears fans here right now. I'm telling you, I'm sorry. You're not going to beat Aaron Rodgers without him making mistakes. It doesn't happen. And in order to capitalize on this team, you have to do those things. Vildor, yeah, I know he was put on the spot. I get it. Jalen Johnson. Everybody said it wouldn't be that big of a difference with Johnson out and Vildor and Duke in there. But it was. It is. It's a bigger difference. And I do that. Did they play well? Yeah, well. Okay, sure. And it sucks to say. I just told Aldo a minute ago. I was just messaging with Duke. It's a tough game. That's all I had to say was it's a tough loss, dude. Hey, you're on to an 0-0 season. Here we go. Right? You're 0-0 now. It's a new season. Like, let's do it. And without getting Aaron Rodgers to make mistakes and without to get him pissed off and yelling at his receivers for running the wrong route and yelling at people to be in the wrong spots when the mistakes are made, because I am a full believer that Aaron Rodgers, 1, is a badass, 2, blames all his mistakes on somebody else. That's what I think he is. I think he goes back and yells at receivers when he throws a pick because they should have been a step quicker or they should have been here at this point. But without getting Aaron Rodgers to make mistakes, you do not beat the Packers. And we had the chance 3 times. We had the chance with Kyle Fuller in the past. We've had these chances in previous games, years, 40 freaking 2 years of being a Bears fan. We've had these chances, and the Bears organization, the Bears team fails to capitalize on Aaron Rodgers' mistakes, and we continue to get beaten by him as a quarterback.
I want to present this question because I don't know the answer. So the easiest thing to do is whenever you don't know the answer to something is to ask somebody else and put them on the spot. Let's say that Roquan's elbow injury is serious and he's a no-go next week. What's the defensive plan against the Saints then? Because we saw what happens when he's not in there tonight. And God willing, Jalen Johnson will be back. But what can you do, or what obviously I don't think you can be as quote unquote exotic as you were tonight, because we saw what happened there. What do you do without Roquan Smith, without that speed in the middle?
If Kamara was playing, I would be really worried. But depending on Kamara's status, but Latavius Murray, that goes back to the Viking days. He's still a threat. So, but he's still going to be an A-B gap type runner. Without Kamara, if Kamara's not there because of COVID and things like that, then that just works in our favor, John. So with that, if Roquan needs a week to chill and they don't have Roquan, If they don't have Kamara, we don't have Roquan. I think that's an even deal. I'm fine with that. I think we'll be all right because that's an all-pro running back. If Roquan has to chill, then okay. Then Woods did enough to show that there's not that many. The people that they would have to cover with the Saints, you have to worry about Taysom Hill running out the backfield. So that's the threats change when it comes to the Saints because they're gonna attack you. It's an aerial assault, but they're looking for those QB lanes to run. If our linebackers just have to run forward, that's a different ball game, John. So hopefully it's not serious. And I know Roquan's going to do everything possible, especially being a playoff game. To play.
John, I changed this whole thing up, dude. I'm out of the 3-4. I'm in the 4-3. I got everybody on the line. I got Brent Urban on there. I got Akeem on there. I got Quinn on there. I got Bilal on there, right? And I'm pushing from I got Mac on there. Roquan's out, and I'm dropping DHC or I'm dropping Xavier or I'm putting somebody else and I know DHC missed a tackle today. We seen it. We seen him miss one. We seen Roquan miss it right after him. But that's what I'm going with. I'm dropping them down there up front. And I'm not staying in this 3 at all. I know we don't stay in it as often as Bears fans, and we like to say we do, right? But I'm changing up the front, man, and I'm trying to better assist myself in a team that's quick on the outsides, in a team that has they run a little, not a wildcat, but they run a difference in bringing in Hillis to do their thing. And who knows where you go from there. But I'm just saying I change up everything, dude. And Chuck Pagano, he's on the line. And honestly, if he came out with a different set and a different everything, are people going to be mad at him for doing it, or are they going to think that he's brilliant for trying to save his job? I really don't know.
But Bobby,
he's probably coaching for his job.
But you're gonna change everything, right? So we change everything. Great. All right, guys, we got a new playbook. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna execute the damn playbook. It doesn't matter.
They already know the 4-3 playbook. They know it. Let's not act like we don't run it. I'm just not running a 3-4.
No, and I feel you on that, but it doesn't matter if the outside linebacker doesn't get to the freaking flat before the wide receiver. You got Lazard killing them, looking like Julian Edelman, looking like straight Julian Edelman coming across the drag routes. They did drag routes underneath and behind the line of scrimmage, and we got beat to the sideline every time. There's no reason why Quinn should be out there, but guess what? He's making too much money. You have no choice. You have no choice because they know if he's not there. With Quinn's in the game, they think he's going to rush. Oh, yeah, he's coming. They're going to dump it off to him. And so,
you have to bring that extra DB in as a nickel set, and you need to rotate that linebacker. And
that's what I'm saying. I'd rather just play the nickel. I'd rather play the nickel or go to a dime front in the first place because this is different. This isn't the same Drew Brees.
It all depends. If Alvin Kamara is playing, I'm not in a dime. We don't know yet, but I'm not in a dime. If Alvin Kamara is playing, I'm pushing the nickel. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get pressure on Drew Brees and how I'm going to do this because we just had the best offensive player on a team and we still barely got pressure. Yeah, we got a little bit of pressure, right? We forced him to do things. We didn't force him out of his game, and we didn't force him to make mistakes in a sense.
Did, though, but Bobby,
no, the interception passes, he wasn't pressured as much.
Which one? The one that he got knocked down on? Yeah, he was.
No, the Vildor one he was, but the other one,
Eddie Jackson, he was getting checked.
That was a tip, though.
He was falling down. He was pressure was coming. He got knocked to the ground.
But it hit his receiver in his hands and got tipped away, and Eddie should have had it. He still made it to the receiver. You know what I'm saying? The Vildor one's the only one that he didn't truly make it to the receiver. Okay, this is we're talking about. Now we're going against Drew Brees.
Mingo, that was why.
Okay, yeah, that was a good one.
That was straight up. That was a pick six. That wasn't just a stop. It was a pick six. It's a game-changing play. Mingo, who was playing the flat, who could that was a phenomenal athletic play. That was baseball.
Yeah.
That was baseball. Good. I thought it was a baseball term.
I got breaking news. Though, Aldo.
What you got, brother?
The Jets have officially parted ways with Adam Gase.
Oh, I expect
What?
He is surprise, surprise, surprise. It's a
he ruined
He's like
their
that. He's like,
present
wait,
and
I'm
then
gone.
ruined their future.
I'll be back tomorrow.
That's the only coach I know that can wreck a team in the present sense and then by winning games ruin their future by costing them for Trevor Lawrence. The lasting effects of Adam Gase. You mean future offensive coordinator for the Bears, Adam Gase. He's coming back.
Oh no, don't say that.
No.
We I think we've got video of Adam Gase trying to get back into the Jets facility. Let me see if I can pop this up on the screen here. Here is Adam Gase, and this is him trying to get back into the facility, but he will not be allowed in. He is being told your privileges to come in have been revoked. Come on, Adam.
I had half a sandwich in there.
All right, guys. I think it is time for final thoughts. What do you guys think?
Yeah, let's wrap it up. I mean, plenty to talk about as far as previewing the playoff game, but as far as, pissing and moaning about this game, I think we got it all out. So I'll go first since you isolated me, and you put me on the spot there. I'll appreciate it. But when I looked over this game, I said this during the show, I'm mad they lost this game because I said before the game, Bears fans, and it worked out, but it was very possible that if the Bears lost this game, it was going to be 8 months before we got to see them play again. And that sucks. That always tears my heart out knowing you got to go 8 months before you can watch your favorite team play football again. We got a reprieve today. Despite losing, we got into the playoffs. So that means we go all in on next week. I was cheering very hard for the Bears today to win the game. I was living and dying on some of those tip balls, some of the fourth downs. I was living and dying on that. And we get to go through that again next week against a pretty darn good team in the Saints. But this time, it really is the playoffs. It is win or go home. We thought it was going to be like that this week. It didn't turn out to be that way. We get to go into the playoffs, and it's really it's playoff football in the NFL, and it's going to be the first ever triple header weekend. It's the super wild card weekend, the first time ever, and the Bears get to be a part of that. So I'm really, really excited about that. And despite all the things that we're talking about, the deficiencies with this team, whether it's offensive, defensive, positional coaching, whatever you want to talk about, despite the deficiencies, the Bears have a chance to go in and win a playoff game. They have earned the right to compete for the Super Bowl in the playoffs. Do I think that's a real possibility? I'm shading towards I'm not quite, but the fact that they're in there means that anything can happen. We've seen that anything can happen. This COVID-related year means literally anyone can just, at the drop of a hat, not be in the game. We've seen that plenty of times throughout this year where some of the biggest names in the football in the league don't play because of COVID concerns. So anything can happen. And now the Bears are in the playoffs where anything can happen. So I'm pretty stoked about that. And also, as far as a programming note, we're going to be doing a Buffon 55 on Tuesday this week. We'll go over this Packers game and obviously preview the playoff game with the Saints. I believe we have Chris Emma from 670 The Score on this week as our guest. That's going to be a real great show. So that's Buffon 55 this week to break down this past game and looking forward to the 2020 playoffs.
Bobby, why don't you go next, my brother?
I will. So final thoughts. Final thoughts are we're in the playoffs. We're in the playoffs, a team that limped in, right? Let's be honest. We limped into the playoffs. We're possibly without a Darnell Mooney. We're possibly without a Roquan Smith. We're possibly without Jalen Johnson. We're looking at a team that has Drew Brees, and we're looking at after that a team that has Aaron Rodgers. If we beat Drew Brees, we're facing Aaron Rodgers. Can we do it? I'm going to say yes eventually. I'll talk myself into that shit. But I'm just saying right now, I don't know. I don't know that we can. Do we deserve to be there is the other question, and I really don't know if we do that either. I think this is a team that's been kind of the false led and miscoached, and that leaves us in a place where we're at right now. It doesn't happen for the injuries, but it leaves us where we're at right now. Do I think we can beat a Saints team or advance further into the playoffs without a Roquan Smith? I don't. At this point, I really don't. And with Nagy and this confusion of play calling, should we be here? Probably not. This is the 7th team in the league. We probably shouldn't have made the playoffs. We limped in, and here we are. But I'm happy for them. I'm glad that we're here, and and I'll celebrate it. Of course, I will. I would have, if we came in tonight and beat the Packers. If we came in tonight and did something against the Packers and kept this momentum and fired up this team and kept rolling off of this, I'd be more optimistic than I currently am. But I'm saying that it's still a good team. It's still a good team. And like John said, anything could happen. Anything can happen in the playoffs. You can get into these playoffs and things happen, man. You take those 3 picks tonight and you score or get field goals off of them, and it's a totally different game. So anything can happen. And with everybody doubting it, there could have been a win tonight. There easily could have been. There was a 4th and 1 call that went to shit, and there's 3 turnovers that could have got. And there would have been 4 turnovers in this game. 4 turnovers plus for the Bears in this game before the Mitch interception. And we could have been sitting pretty. You wouldn't have had to throw that last pass if you already had 4 picks, in my opinion. But final thoughts is, let's go. We're in the playoffs. It's an 0-0 season, and here we are. Everybody's optimistic. I know everybody's calling for heads. Everybody wants a change in the whole organization, but let this one ride out. Let's see what we have, and let's go from there. Nobody knows better than the players, because I feel that the players are actually honest with everything, and they seem to agree with what's going on and be standing next to their coaching staff and next to their organization when it happens. So I'm going to take that, man, and it's on to the Saints. Let's go to NOLA. I was just there a few weeks ago, and whatever. Let's go down there and get the W and continue from there. So that's all I got, man.
Tyler Ellis, what you got, brother?
But Bobby forgot to talk about the Barfly Tailgate show.
Shit.
Plug your show, Bobby.
I don't need to plug the show, man. We got a whole week.
Saturday morning, 8 a.m. Central.
I'll intrude on John's show on Tuesday. I'll be back.
Pop right in.
It'll be okay.
I look forward to that.
But it's gonna be it will be pretty cool. So definitely don't miss the Bobby Bonds, Ryan Badgley, KB, Aaron Kern, and my man Mike. They're gonna be breaking down the Chicago Bears football playoff game, which is gonna be pretty dope. And everybody's emotions are rare right now, but around Friday it's gonna be playoff fever. And catering to Bobby's point, if the Bears would have won today, I would have claimed Super Bowl. Period. Because it's the Packers. If we would have won, we would have been the 4th team in the NFL to have beaten them. And so it was still a big feat, but still I felt like we could have won this game. But the fact that we didn't. We're going against the Saints. Guess what? We went against Drew Brees before he got hurt. When the Saints beat us by a couple points earlier season, that was against Drew Brees. What sucks is Roquan Smith, I believe he had 11 tackles that game. And so if he's not there, that will be difference maker. But I do believe that we will win that game. We have the components. Injuries are different when it's the playoffs, fellas. When you have games coming up, you know what? Just go ahead and relax. Guys, we want players to be smart and protect your bodies and stuff, but guys know this is this is it. This is win or go home. This is it until 8 months from now. So Mooney, Smith, everybody's going to do whatever it takes to play. I know that for a fact. So I'm going to be encouraged that everybody's going to get the magical health care this week. They're going to get their Senzu beans in, and they're going to be ready to play these freaking Saints. And we can do it. We go just like the Reggie Bush days. We can send the Saints home. We can send them Saints home marching. And that's going to be pretty freaking awesome. But Mitch Trubisky, Nick Foles completed passes to over 8-9 different receivers in that game. So Mitch is better. Mitch can do that. The Saints defense is not the Packers defense. And so Allen Robinson, that was blank. The Packers have decent above average DBs, ladies and gentlemen. And I believe that the Bears offense that was scoring over 30 plus points the past couple of weeks against subpar teams, so whatever it is, but they can do that against the Saints. So can we win a shootout? Can the Bears defense get a stop? I think we can, because it's not Aaron Rodgers. And so But besides that, final thoughts. I'm excited about the Bears going to the playoffs. We got a bunch of shows coming up this week, so stay tuned. But Aldo and everybody will keep you updated on that. It's playoff football. I'm jacked up now. As soon as the new seeding came out, I was like, we can make it. That's what I said. I said we can make it because the Bears have been that just above team. I knew we were better than below average, and the talent level, like John, you said, our talent makes up for the lack of the leadership and coaching and stuff. And so I feel like all we need is a puncher's chance. Come on, John. You think how was Buster Douglas feeling when he faced Tyson? So if Buster Douglas can, it's all it takes. When the world says that nobody's counting on us to beat the Saints, I don't expect them to. But
here's
the best time. Hold on, champ. Hold on.
Hold on here. I gotta go home. Come on.
But it's like nobody's gonna give us a chance to do it. But this is an opportune chance to shock the world. And what better route for Mitch Trubisky after being dragged through the mud, through the media, through all of the shenanigans, through everything, all the comparisons with the picks and all those things. For Mitch Trubisky, for the Chicago Bears or not, to like, hey, you can write your new contract with a 5-touchdown game in the playoffs right now because they're going to remember what you do lately. So the Bears, get it together, fix it, come out, play like Super Bowl champions. But like follow the network on all social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. John, don't forget to talk about your Instagram. You can catch it at TY Baby, Freedom_Games. I'm at the Barroom Network at Bobby Phelan. Because we're gonna be Bobby Bonds. We're gonna be content, playoff content during the playoffs and in the offseason. We're not gonna leave you stranded because we're here for the long run. And so at the end of the day, Bears Nation, be encouraged. Be encouraged because it's not over till it's over. Other than that, to God the glory, be safe, and bear down.
Damn, a lot of final thoughts there.
I was just gonna say, here's me drinking the juice, but I drank it all already, so it's over with.
All right, my final thoughts. Earl Martin said it in the chat room a little while ago. He said that today's game was a measuring stick, and that's how I looked at it coming into the game. This was a test for the Chicago Bears. And when you look at it on the surface, it's a failure, right? You allow Aaron Rodgers to throw for 4 touchdown passes. You make these multiple mistakes on offense and defense. But I think that once you sleep over it and you reflect on what really happened on this game, there might be some reason to have a glimmer of hope of prolonging the postseason, of beating the New Orleans Saints and going on and doing something that we could be surprised and very proud of. First and foremost, I've been following this team from the 1960s. And over the decades, what I have learned is that I fall in love with the players too, not just the uniform, not just the logo. I have a lot of respect for the players on this team. Guys like Akeem Hicks, who go out there and fight with an energy that I wish I could have as an athlete, as a person. As much as I've been down on Mitchell Trubisky, I love Mitchell Trubisky, and I want him to do the very best that he can possibly do. And now he's got another opportunity to do this in a playoff game. Let's remember his performance against the Philadelphia Eagles in his first playoff appearance. He led us to a fourth quarter comeback that if it wasn't for a missed field goal attempt, he would have had a playoff victory instead of a playoff loss. I love David Montgomery, and I posted some silly tweet today that when I see David Montgomery running, it's like he's saying, F you, F you. He's just fighting for yards, and I love that energy. I love that passion that David Montgomery brings. What I don't love, and I can go on about so many other players on this team, but what I don't love is some of the coaching decisions that are being made by the head coach and the defensive coordinator primarily. That is very disheartening because I don't think that they're using the personnel correctly. I don't think that they are thinking really about what are these guys' strengths and instead trying to put their own ideas and schemes and not being concerned with the playing capabilities of the players that they're coaching. That's my biggest concern. So nonetheless, I'm really, really hopeful that the Chicago Bears can come through with an upset on Wild Card Week. And we're going to be coverage up and down, left and right all week. It starts tomorrow with Greg Gabriel, the former director of college scouting for the Chicago Bears, right here in the bar room. He and I will talk about this game. We'll get his assessment about what happened and what could potentially happen against the New Orleans Saints. We're going to have some special programming throughout the week, more of these videos and bringing in barroom guys just so that we can talk with you and so forth. And when I say you, I'm talking about all of you barflies out there, and we will even welcome some of you on to interact with us. We're going to be giving you coverage throughout the week, every week. And like John said, his Buffon 55 with Chris Emma is going to be a huge part of the show. Chris covers the Bears every week, and we can ask him about some of the questions that were asked at Sunday's press conference today.
We will.
And the questions that will be asked tomorrow. And we want to be your voice, but we also want you to be our voice. And so come on here, talk with us throughout the week, hit the subscribe button, tell your friends about our Bears coverage. We're very proud of it, and we're going to keep it up all week because this week, upcoming week, it's playoff week, and the Chicago Bears are in the playoffs. Guys, Bobby Bombs, thank you for jumping in, brother. I love you. Barfly Tailgate Show is going to be on whether it's a Saturday game or a Sunday game.
Yeah, we don't know.
On the Barfly Tailgate guys to get you ready for that game. Tyler Ellis, you're the man, brother. I can't wait for John to have that first fight. You and I are going to be there in the corner for John. I'm going to be throwing water on him, and you're going to be praising him with confidence, okay?
And you guys can carry me out.
And again, thank you for everyone who joined us live and all the other people who are listening on the replay. I think that's it, guys. It is time to say goodbye.
Let's say congratulations to Joey Mandel for winning the fantasy football championship in Adam Rank's NFL Network's league.
That's right. Pretty
so
awesome.
Very, very awesome.
Very impressive.
Congratulations to Danny Shimon for winning the Ballroom League.
Kick my ass.
On Draft on Tap, Danny Shimon credibility, and congratulations to Chris Gonzalez for winning the other Goon League. And so we got credibility and people with results here at the Barroom Network that we just not talking about it. These guys are actually putting in the work with their research behind the scenes. But and Aldo, thanks for bringing it all together, brother.
You got it. Hey, John, how'd you do on your fantasy team?
I made the playoffs 3 out of 4 leagues and then got third in all of them. So
me too.
Makes me feel great. That Concy game just makes you all tingly inside.
How about it? All right, we'll be talking to you throughout the week. Take care now.